Type You Bleed is a comedy horror short film shot in Cambridge over 1 and 2 separate half days in April of 2021 for just £1,200. We had 4 crew members on set on the day, that being myself, writer, director, cinematographer and sound recordist, Simon Callahan as gaffer, Liz Gallagher as location manager and Laura Elmer as AD, and our 2 actors, Duncan Casey and Michael Geary. I was approached with budget for a short documentary film that I'd wanted to make during COVID, and when that didn't come off, Bill Bosser, the exec, came to us and said he would fund anything that I wanted to do. And I thought about what I had available to me and how I could get the highest amount of production value out of the relatively small budget that we had. And I remembered that I was friends with the Centre for Computing History in Cambridge, which is a computer museum and a charity. And I decided, well, that was my setting. And I had my 2 characters that would be played by myself and Duncan Casey. But when it came down to it, I realised that I'm not Sylvester Stallone or Orson Welles, or not even nearly. So it'd be best to get someone in. So we got the wonderful Mike Geary to come in and play the second character. Additional to that, in the post-production side, I did a lot of kind of motion graphics and animation compositing. I edited the film. Unbelievably, we had Rob Myers doing visual effects for us, who worked on the Avengers films, the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man films, the Iron Giant, worked with Phil Tippett and stuff like that. He knows us from our YouTube channel, and he contributed some stuff to the movie, along with Dan Lyles, who did our amazing poster, and also some digital matte paintings that we used for the film as well. Type You Bleed is an obsolete piece of gaming terminology used to describe the old type of game, usually adventure games like Cave Adventure or The Bard or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and others, where you would be presented with text and a prompt and you would type what to do. Walk around, do this, that and the other. It also sometimes referred to the Sierra Online adventure games, the early ones, which are graphic adventures, but you still had to type verbs for your character to interact. And I thought, Type You Bleed is just a great title. It sounded a bit kind of Corman-esque or kind of tacky and schlocky, so I thought, well, I'll have that. So I went on the basis that I have actors available, I have a computer museum, and I think text adventures are kind of mildly creepy. Took it from there. The entire film was shot on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera with one Zeiss Cine lens. I used a couple of 50mm to go in for a few different shots. I had one 60-watt Godox light, and then a handful of LED panels and an absolute ton of gels. And it's the fact I had all those gels that made me really lean in to doing a super gaudy Italian giallo type thing. So I wanted it to have the kind of British humour of something like Inside Number 9, that kind of dry humour with the kind of super gaudy look of a giallo film. When you say Italian horror, people think of Dario Argento and say, or things like Profondo Rosso or Suspiria, but I didn't want to reference those. I wanted to reference things like Rat's Night of Terror and Zombie 3 and Alien Contamination. In fact, the shot you see behind me is clicked into place for me whilst I was watching the film Alien Contamination. There's a scene at the end and I like that uplighting. Our music was by Liam Taylor. He's an amazing composer. He also did all of our sound design. I gave Liam a number of Italian horror scores and just said, I want one of those, please. And he sent me his take on that. And he sent me the main theme to the movie, which is in our trailer. And no notes, he nailed it. I was so excited before we'd even shot a frame. We had Liam's music. So it was absolutely incredible. And he's composed a number of tunes for the film and done all the sound design and the Foley and stuff as well to such a wonderful standard, really high standard. Nearly everybody worked for free. 1 or 2 people got paid. I certainly worked for free, and I put countless hours into the post-production and stuff like that. But we really want the film to look more expensive than it is. The idea is that the movie punches above its weight. So we want people to watch it and then say, oh, it cost this. And we hope that's kind of a surprise to people. I think filming it in the Computer Museum really gave it that kind of production value, as well as having professional actors. You know, Duncan is a very good friend of mine. I wrote this for Duncan, but he's done plenty of big kind of A-list movies and TV. Mike Geary is the same. He's done tons. I think he just came up with Outlander recently. And they took my script and they contributed so much, made it so much better than it was on the page, and just made it all come to life. We only had 1 full day with Mike, so quite often when you see shots of Mike and it's not his face, that's Laura, who is who is a girl of a similar height to Mike, was the only one who'd fit into his costume, and also had curly hair, so we sort of shot from behind and stuff like that. There are bits where I sub for Duncan. Generally speaking, if you see any sort of close-up or hands or items, that's in my house. We had a bit of green screen shooting as well in my old house, post-production a good 9 months after we'd wrapped on principal. And there were a few experimentations early on. Before we rolled frame one, we did a lot of tests. So I did lighting tests to make sure I could get that giallo look with what I had in the house, which worked. And I looked at Electric Dreams and War Games, because those were era appropriate person interacting with computer films. And I looked at the scenes in there and thought about how I could composite Duncan's interactions with the machine, which involved shooting Duncan in a super wide angle lens in portrait mode, the devil's ratio, and warping that, and then shooting a plate of the machine, compositing those together, and then animating text over. So it's 3 different shots in all of the scenes where Duncan interacts with the machine. And they were based upon how people in errant technology movies of that era interact with computers, and the idea of, there's a scene in, I think, Electric Dreams and in War Games where the main character's screen is shown and their face is reflected and the text is upon the screen. So I nicked that. You can actually play Cave Adventure in the Computer Museum. They have a version of it there, and our game is based on that, with the green text and the black background and stuff. I wanted to sort of make it very slavishly like that, but it didn't quite work, so I kept it simple. The other things, we have a really amazing prop by Gary Smart from Dead Mouse Films, but I can't tell you what it is because that would be spoilers. So yeah, thanks for checking out this short making of. You can see our trailer as well, and I've probably made this sound really dry and quite boring, but we really hope you enjoy Type 2 Bleed.